Let's talk about the next game, though, because Full Sense played against DFM. This is Full Sense with Cruz now as well, IGLing for them. And, I thought this might be a bit of a close game. If you looked at both of these teams at kickoff, should have been a challenge probably for Full Sense to get across the line. I got to be honest, it didn't feel like it when I'm watching this game. Felt very, very comfortable.
Yeah. Good things for Full Sense. A lot of positives for Full Sense. I think Jip Boys, despite bomb fragging there on the Neon, actually looked okay on Neon. Because we were thinking like, oh, will Full Sense play double duelist? Do they have another duelist? And Jip Boys has gone from IGLing to playing Neon, which is quite a switch. And he actually did okay. And Primi on Phoenix is kind of a bit of a cheat code. I was speculating, if Full Sense really wanted to, I think it's possible they could have got 6 ults. If they want to, on Pearl with Primi on Phoenix, because he's obviously Primi, and so he was commonly getting 3 or 4 kills in these rounds and just building it up. And they weren't even farming the ult orbs that much, and they weren't giving him plants and stuff. I think it's actually possible they could ult every other round, which is an insane thing to do.
I mean,
I think it's possible.
They had it on the 3rd and the 5th round, right? The 2 big buy rounds.
Yeah, I think if they fully lent into it though, like ult orb, plant, like stuff like that, it could be insane. And I want it to happen because it'd be funny.
I think this just made me, when I watched DFM on Attack, it just made me realize, even though like May is an incredible player, like there was a reason that we were speaking so highly of like 100 Thieves and NRG for being able to run the solo waylay. I think it takes a certain kind of duelist, and as much as I liked like a lot of stuff the Full Sense were doing, I just don't think that it fits their style enough to just run the solo waylay, because I feel like he has to be such a carry instead of more of the supportive duelist of I'm making space or I've put the death mark on someone. Whereas I feel like Primi's more using his stuff for himself, and I'm not sure it works for this team to kind of have. I just don't like how they play the solo waylay, I guess is the easiest way to say it.
On the rifle rounds, every single thing was a pre-barrier call, and they did the same thing in the first half of Bind as well. That's what makes me a little bit worried about DFM here. Once DFM showed that they could stop a hit on Bind, Cruz like added in some cancels, some fakes, some TP pivots. They never had to do a single one of those on Pearl. And I'm not saying that they can't. They just literally ran away with the attack side, never needing to at any point. And that is, I mean, I think part of why this game felt so easy was just because the plan just worked off the rip. Like they were just running it at them and boom. Well, they won every time.
I think that's the thing, though. A lot of times they had the Phoenix ult and they had a Neon that was going to capitalize off of the space anyway. And then you're inserted with a Judge. Like, it just felt like they were so comfy with it, and like their pathing was so different, and they have the Judge that, I don't know, I don't think there's any point. If anything, it's harder to cancel. Like with this comp, it's such an all-in comp when you're looking at the Pearl one. Because as soon as your wall's done, you don't really have anything else to hit, and then the Phoenix ult's done. It's a little harder as well, so...
Yeah, but it's also on DFM, right? Like on their defense, they're just constantly spread out, like really, really thin on their defaults. And then because they're spread out, they have no tools to actually push out and get info. So they're just stuck at the middle of the map or on site. And then the hit comes, and like you said, it's an all-in hit. So obviously you're gonna lose, and then you're just scrambling.
They genuinely didn't. Oh, go on. Sorry.
No, yeah, I got to join the presser after this match for both teams. And I asked him about that, and he was like, Vors was actually straight up just like, I think the defaults it's on me, right? Like, I think I just kind of pushed them towards the wrong direction. And I do think like it forced us to be too slow on the adaptation. But what is a little bit disappointing is that these are issues we've seen with them before. And so, with most Japanese teams. So it's like we just watched Santiago where everyone's just all-inning all the time. And if this is what you're coming in with on what's supposed to be your best map, it is not boding well.
I don't think they were exploitative enough. Like, one of the things that I think teams like PaperX and Nongshim actually do, but PaperX in particular are amazing at, is that when they realize that an opponent is good at something or bad at something, they'll kind of like throw the rulebook out the window a little bit. And they're like, on defense, for example, obviously we should be like, not over-rotating too much, I think is the easiest example, actually. But if my opponent's never throwing fakes at us, never throwing a default at us, fuck it. Over-rotate like crazy until they prove that they're going to do something different. And I just felt like in this game, DFM at no point got the, very, very late in the game. got the read about what was going on. Like there were so many opportunities to be pushing out the opposite side of the map against Full Sense, to be over-rotating and cheating one side of the map a little bit. And a lot of the Pacific teams are really, really good at this exploitative style of play. And DFM didn't do that. They didn't make it difficult for Full Sense here. I think they really missed it. They were like almost playing by the book a bit too much.
Yeah. And they also have a good chamber. We saw Yatsuka on chamber in kickoff really popping off against some of the best players, and for them to not utilize it at all was a bit of a shame.
ZETA Division plays against RRQ. Now, in my head, I'm looking at this one on paper and just thinking, slam dunk, isn't it? Absolute slam dunk. RRQ should be miles better than ZETA Division here. Looked at it on VLR afterwards, and I'm thinking, well, whoopsie daisy, what's gone on in this game? Was it more than just the one map to open that was bad from RRQ, or what's the tale of the
tape?
I
think bad from RRQ. I would say good from ZETA personally.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would say. I mean, I think Split, you were just kind of getting run. Absol was he just kind of consumed Dep's soul, and he said, "We're back," and he just started stomping on everybody. Yeah, so maybe that's what happened on Split. But Haven, I mean, obviously RQ eventually won it as well, but they played it well. It's just ZETA could have absolutely closed that out as well. I think ZETA just looks much more improved, like really good changes in terms of re-clears, confirming information before rotating, taking proactive changes. Players like Shota and Absol just being able to make those decisions as well. Like Shota was getting some nasty lurk timings on their attacks on a lot of these maps, and that's just so refreshing to see from any Japanese team, but obviously ZETA Division especially. So I mean, they're promising. I honestly think, like, first of all, I believed that they were going to win this at some point in Haven as well. And I think they should have if they had a little bit more experience with it.
Yeah. This was, like, at the start of the Haven, when it was, like, 6-0 or whatever, and RRQ put Jemkin on Killjoy, and he's 0-6, whatever it was. It's like, holy fuck, RRQ have completely trolled this, right? Like, it just feels like we've gone for a comp change that hasn't worked whatsoever. And we're going to lose a game that we definitely shouldn't be losing. And ZETA looked much better than perhaps we thought. Then Jemkin just fucking woke up. I mean, he just, from that point, he was like 22-8 or something, 22-7, something like that. And he just went absolutely crazy. So they ends up looking not so bad. But it genuinely looked like, ZETA are going to destroy this game. And yeah, I think if they were, I don't know if they got, a little nervous or whatever, but like, had they just been able to lock in a bit more, like they should have run away with this game. Instead, they kind of let RRQ, like that 4 rounds in a row. It was like, you've given them a chance, and then you lose pistol. It's like, from when RRQ won that second pistol, I was like, oh no, oh no.
The one thing that I really liked from ZETA, outside of like what they did in the actual server, like their changing of comps, is essentially. I mean, it's pretty bold to do because I felt because Echo was like really good on the Neon. That was actually like the one shining light for the team that I felt. So to move him away from the Neon and put Absol on paper is like really risky, but it works so well. Absol looks insanely comfy. He was one of the reasons the split was so easy for them.
So the stats difference between, and again, I haven't watched the game, but the stats difference between Absol on map 1 and map 3 playing the Neon is pretty huge. I mean, the rate he's got a 1.64 rating on split and a 0.57 rating on Haven. But does that actually reflect how he played? Like, was he still playing a good Neon game on Haven, even though he just is getting like bad stats?
I think so. I don't think he was playing a bad game on Neon. Let's put it that way. I don't think he was playing a god game.
Yeah, I think they can, if they applied more of how proactive they are on their split to other maps, I think they'll look a lot better. The Fracture was really weird to watch, to be honest, because both of the teams didn't look that good on Fracture, but they're also playing the double veto, right? Is the game? Yeah, so it's like the RRQ veto kind of countered some of the afterplan util, but I think against other comps, it will actually look pretty good. Again, no north side crunches, man. Again, against a veto when it's only like one trip. I find it so weird. I think teams are super passive at the moment and maybe forgot how to play defense on Fracture. And it's showing in how many rounds they're winning. So.
Yeah.